Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Wednesday, August 7th. Yes, it is. Shall. So today, I thought we'd talk about, you're probably going to say, well, this is old news, right? How to treat customers. But it might surprise you on my approach. And maybe you haven't tried this before, but stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric, and yes, this is the weekday, Monday through Friday. Today is Wednesday, the 7th of August, 2024, for you guys that are keeping track. Alright, so it's kind of a beat up subject as far as I'm concerned, but it's a beat up subject. It keeps coming up because some people just aren't getting it. And, my philosophy has always been kind of like treat your customer like you would like to be treated, and that's fairly. You don't expect a shop to just give their services away to you. But in the same sense, you don't expect the shop to charge you for things that you really didn't need either, right? And both happen on both sides. And some people think customer service is just the less you talk to the customer, the better off it is. And all they're concerned about is the bill and getting paid, and they're more. And you could be right too. So what am I getting at? I'm getting at there is no one set way to treat your customer. And now I got you baffled, right? You do have the customer that really isn't interested in a lot of small talk. All they want is their machine because they need to mow with it or weed trim with it or what have you. They're not interested in everything that you did to it. All they care about is what's the bill, let me get it paid, get it loaded, and get it out of here. And if you try doing a lot of small talk or telling them all the extras you did, it's going to land on deaf ears, right? They don't really care. So that's the one type of customer you have. You got the other type of customer that's on the other extreme that wants to know every little bolt, nut, and everything else you put on that machine and why you're charging them X, Y, and Z on the bill. So you're going to spend more time with that person going through the bill and trying to explain in layman's terms what exactly you did and why you did it. And are they bad customers? No. They want to know. They want to know what's going on with the machine and why it cost what it did. And yeah, they're the ones that are going to want to hear that you gave them some breaks on you did this, this, and this, and didn't charge them for it because you were right there as part of the whatever you're doing. And then you had that one that no matter what you say or do is not going to be happy. Even if half of the going rate is what you got it for them, they're not going to be happy. They're going to bitch and complain. They're going to make you feel like crap. And if you don't understand it and see it and know it, it will ruin your day because then you're going to sit there and be down on yourself for him having a bad day per se. You hear me on this channel say that people cannot make you feel squat. They can't. It's how you decide to react and feel. I guess if you want to feel like crap, or you already think of yourself in such a light that the customer just brought it to light, so it just takes and intensifies it to the point of saying, yeah, that I was right. The customer thinks I'm an asshole. I am an asshole sometimes. I get it. Big deal. But I'm more of a good person. I am an asshole. You know, years ago, the way I always come up against people is you come up against me and your voice raises and you get in my face. When I was younger, I'd get right back in your face. Ain't happening. My son's a lot like that now. And now I'm just like, no, I'm not buying into this crap. You want to step up and get into my face? I'm not going to back away, but I'm not going to step forward too at the same time, right? I mean, I try to be as non-conform. You know the word. I can't even pronounce it. Hey, girl, stop. Of where you don't want to have conflicts. You know, you're not instigating them and you're not buying into them. Because, I mean, we all know how things can intensify and just start rolling if both parties are raising the level of anger, upsetment, what have you. And we know from just a recent video that a lot of anger comes from frustration, which comes from anxiety, all right? And the anxiety is, I can give you an example. Quite a few years ago, I had bought a Nissan truck through a dealership. It was used, and it was very little used, you know, it was low mileage. And the salesman, I asked him, I said, so do I have like 30-day, 60-day, what have you on the truck? And he told me I had a 60-day on the truck against anything. If I found anything, just bring it back. So that kind of cinched the deal. I figured, well, because I knew that this shop didn't run stuff through the repair shop when they took them in on trade. Because they did one or two things with those trucks and cars. They either wholesaled them out or they stuck them out front and hope for the best, right? Because a lot of, I don't know how it is now, but back then it used to be most of the dealers made their money on the back end deal with the used vehicle. It wasn't with the new vehicle. It was, unless they got like add-ons like, you know, the Sirius radio and certain floor mats and all kind of upselling. But for the most part, car dealers made their money selling the used one. That's where their money was. So I bought this truck, and I had it like 3 weeks, and decided to take it up onto the club. And there's this one hill that's so much nicer, put it in 4-wheel drive. Now, back then, you know, it was already going towards, you know, lock-in hubs that were becoming... See, it used to be if you wanted automatic hubs, it cost you more money. If you didn't want to spend the extra money, they put lock-in hubs. And my whole family liked the lock-in hubs because we could lock them in and out. You know, we'd lock them out when we're not driving on back roads and stuff, so we get better mileage and yada, yada, yada. But I needed those hubs up on the club because I'd gotten up a side hill and the truck had started to slide sideways. So I got out and I could not turn the hubs with my fingers. We got out with a set of pliers and tried turning the hubs to lock them in, and still nothing. So, of course, I was upset. I was frustrated. I did get the truck out with a set of come-alongs, but I had bought this truck so that everything should work, the four-wheel drive. So I took the truck back to the dealership, and I went in and to the service department, and they asked me, "Can I help you?" And I said, "Yeah, I bought the truck here last month, and for some reason I can't get the four-wheel drive hubs to lock in." And they said, "Well, that's normal. They don't get used a lot. They just kind of get gummed up. It's only a couple-minute job. We'll run it into the garage and back out." A couple minutes, I ended up like 2 hours. And still nothing. Now, had I known it was going to take a long time, I would have just dropped the truck off, had somebody pick me up, and then had them call me, even if it was the next day. But they said they were going to get it right in, hang tight, not a big job. 4 hours passed. And I'm walking between the service area for customers and walking out the parking lot, seeing my truck is still there. It hasn't moved. So finally, I go back to the service department. I said, "Look, it's been 4 hours. Nobody's touched my truck. What's the deal?" "Well, they're trying to fit it in." I said, "You told me 2 hours tops that you could get that in and get that back out. Had it known it would be longer than that, I would have had somebody pick me up. And then we wouldn't both be pressed for time, right?" So he gets a little prissy and says, "Let me see what I could do." And he walks out into the mechanic's bay. And then I see a bay door open, and somebody come out, jump in my truck, take it in. And I went out to see, because I was having a cigarette, I went out to see how they were coming. I wanted to see what they were doing. And there was nobody working on it. It was sitting inside the bay with the bay door open. Well, once one of the mechanics spotted me, they shut the bay door. All right. So another couple hours pass, and they say they got it fixed, and they pulled it back out. So I'm thrilled. I went out and I checked the hubs. I still could not get them to move. So this time, I don't even bother the service department. I go right to the general manager, which is one of the owners. And I'm like, "Look, Dave, it's got lockout hub issues. Can your guys fix it or not? I know it's a Ford garage, but it's a Nissan. It shouldn't be that difficult. You know, I just want them to work. That's all." So he went out and tried turning them with his fingers, and they wouldn't move. So back in he went, me right on his heels. He went right to the service department and said, "Did you guys just get that done for Eric?" They said, "Yeah." "Well, I can't even turn them." All right, so now it's getting to be a fiasco. Dave doesn't want to hear about it. The service manager doesn't want to hear about it. And the mechanics don't want to work on it. Here's the clinker. In the end, they only got one freed up to where it worked a little bit. And then the other one, they couldn't get freed up. And then they're talking about charging me parts and labor. But they tried presenting me with a bill for almost $900 for the time I sat there waiting. And them probably working on my truck 10 minutes. I lost it. And I went in and I went toe to toe with the owner. And the owner lost it and threw a clipboard across the floor and basically said that truck is not covered under warranty, and get your ass off our lot. Because I was unwilling to pay the $1,000 bill, $900 and some dollar bill. And here's the clinker. I could have changed the lockout hubs on both sides of that truck for under $300 and done the install myself. We tore those apart before, and that's probably what I should have done. I should have just went ahead and did it myself, because in the end, I did do it myself. So where did they fail with their customer service? It was all a breakdown of communication. The salesman said it had 60 days. The service department said it'd be a quickie. And now the owner's telling me that it's not covered. And before they do any more work, they want $900 and some dollars. I told them to shove it up their ass. And I actually brought back the bill of what it cost me for brand new lockout hubs, and the time it took us to do it, and present him with a bill. Did he pay it? No. Did he lose a lifelong customer? Absolutely. I still to this day have not recommended anybody buy a car from that dealership. And I haven't dealt with them since. But that's what I mean about treating your customer right. The better story would have been, drop it off and I'll give you a call when it's ready, maybe tomorrow before we get to it. Set that bar, right? Because we don't like people waiting around. If they're going to drop off a machine, we're not going to work on it. We've got customers ahead of them. And I make it very clear, we're not just going to stop everything we're doing to work on yours. You can drop it off, and once it's done, I'll give you a holler. Okay? 2, don't roll it into the shop and then not work on it. Don't make the customer think that it could be done as soon as, an hour. 3, don't promise the customer anything you can't deliver on. And finally, 4, don't lie to a customer. And don't throw your clipboard because the customer is asking for just good service. It failed on all ends, and it failed on my end too as a customer, because I finally lost it. After being there almost 7 hours, I'd had enough. So I'm going to start wrapping this up. For you guys that have shops, how do you approach something like that? I mean, we've just developed a way of doing things so that I don't leave the customer with expectations higher than what it should be, right? I'm not going to tell the customer everything that they want to hear just to get their work. No. We have a system in the shop. And unless there's nothing going on and we're twiddling our thumbs because we don't have the parts for the machines that are there, what have you, and there's nothing else in the yard, there are occasions where we will take it in quick, and I do a lot of diagnostic on the back of people's trucks and cars. But the main theme is if a customer wants to bring something, I got a customer bringing one this morning, all right? And we've got 4 other machines ahead of it, and they want to get their yard mowed. I understand it. And this will be a new customer, but the customer is going to understand that when you drop it off with me this morning, you may not get it back till tomorrow at the earliest. We may have it done in an hour and ready to roll. But if I tell the customer an hour and it's not ready and they're getting upset, foul on me, shame on me, right? But I'm curious how you do it with yours, that keep the expectations reasonable. Don't just say things to make your customer happy. Your customer is going to be happy with just honesty and doing a good job and getting charged a fair amount. And you treat those customers like that, and they'll keep bringing stuff back. And they'll find more stuff to bring back. As yesterday, a couple brothers, good friends too now, that had dropped their Ford New Holland off to get the hydraulics fixed. And I kept them in the loop, and they called a few times, but that the hydraulics went to working on their own, and then they quit again. So I went ahead and I changed, put a new filter, new fluids, and we had to do that anyways, all right? That didn't fix it. So we ended up ordering the pump and telling the customer that we did order the pump. The pump did come in, but the pipes had to be redone. They weren't the right length. They were too long for the pump. So we had to fabricate on them and get them working. But we came in with a reasonable price on the actual work, because the labor bill was probably half of what the parts were. But not only were they happy with the level of service, I hope, but they went and they got something else and brought it back for us to work on and told me, you get that one done, we've got other stuff we need fixed. Honesty, folks. Expectations. Manage your customers' expectations. That's the key. So on that note, you guys have a great Wednesday, and we'll catch you here bright and early tomorrow morning.